Hi, I'm James Brinton, speech and language pathologist with Eyegaze. Welcome to our discussion of 3 critical questions to answer in the first 5 minutes of using the Eyegaze Edge with anybody. Our challenges, not only as manufacturers, but as clinicians, assessors, are to assess with time sensitivity and to collect the needed data to make the right decision and recommendation with this person that we're working with. Ultimately, we want to deliver a solution and deliver hope, give them connection to the world around them once again. This requires us to ask the right questions, to understand what's happening when they are interacting with various devices, and often to troubleshoot right in the middle of sessions when it isn't working as well as we think it could be. I have various pictures here from our Eyegaze Edge communicators. I love this picture on the left because it shows one of our customers who is using his Eyegaze Edge to control his projected computer screen up on the wall. His iPhone is next to his device, and he has his communication device. So he's accessing all 3 devices. So first, let's identify some hurdles for Eyegaze access. These are quotes that I have heard from families and AAC communicators over the years when it comes to Eyegaze as an access method not working for them as well as they want. Sometimes I'll go into their home or a clinic and say, tell me, what is it you've been using so far and how does it work for you? I've heard people say things like, it just doesn't read my eyes, or it just doesn't work. And they ask, is it my eyes? Is it my glasses? Maybe it's the computer or the eye tracker, or is it the light from the window that's coming in? They say, I can only type 3 words per minute. I hate it. I have to keep recalibrating for it to work. Or I wasn't taught how to use it, or it won't work with my eye condition. These are all things that can be common to hear for people who have been assigned various devices. We want to break through these complaints and understand how to troubleshoot this by answering these 3 critical questions using the Eyegaze Edge as an assessment tool. Before we go into those 3 questions, this article is from the ASHA Perspectives magazine, SIG 12. This is from the year 2018, called Eyegaze 101, What Speech-Language Pathologists Should Know About Selecting Eyegaze AAC Systems. This article is full of gems, and it really focuses on the need for comprehensive data collection and collection of that data through a variety of eye trackers. We need to take into account the cognitive linguistic factors of the communicators and really understand the eye physiology of the person, both form and function. This article also stresses the need to accommodate for various eye conditions in order for someone to be successful with Eyegaze. These are the specific conditions mentioned, and all of these have some sort of accommodation within the Eyegaze Edge. It talks about cataracts or cataract removal, lens replacement surgery, ptosis, nystagmus, strabismus, mydriasis, and cortical visual impairment. So I highly recommend this article in your increasing your skills as an assessor. So here are the 3 critical questions that we need to answer in the first few minutes with anyone using the Eyegaze Edge. First, are their eyes trackable? Then, how accurate can they be? Can we get them to calibrate and get some accuracy? And then third, once they've calibrated, can we optimize their access to give them the things that will enrich their lives? Before we go into those 3 questions, before they show up at our clinic or we go to their home, we need to do a thorough pre-screening. We need to ask about their eye history, including any history of surgeries or known eye conditions. We need to understand and ask, are they able to, of their own volition, look up, down, left, and right? We also want to ask, are they able to answer yes and no questions using their eyes? Some people look up for yes, down for no, or I've seen some people look right for yes and left for no. Do they blink? And are they able to use liquid tears or eye drops as part of their daily routine? That will help all Eyegaze communicators, no matter what device they're using, having hydrated and clean corneal surfaces. Do they wear glasses, and what type of lenses? Single vision lenses are great. Progressive lenses, whether they're bifocals or trifocals, are no problem for the Eyegaze Edge. Thick eyeglass lenses typically are not a problem for the Eyegaze Edge as well. Where we run into trouble is if they have lined bifocals or lined trifocals. That can pose a few problems that you may need to get creative with, and we have a few tricks for those type of lenses. Next, we need to understand when we see them, how and where will they be positioned. This is so we can bring the right device, keep them comfortable, and bring the device right to them using the correct mount. We want to ask, what have they tried so far, and how did it go? And then we need to ask the individual, what are your needs and wants when you have eye gaze access, so we can spend our time on things that are of value to them. So first and foremost, we want to set up the person, get them comfortably supported, as you see here, and then we need to bring the device to be naturally in their visual field. You'll notice this person has ALS. Not only is he using the eye tracking feature of the Eyegaze Edge, but he is able to put his hands on the keyboard and the trackpad that's part of that keyboard. So he has dual access method here in this picture. Let's dive into the three questions. First, are their eyes trackable? The Eyegaze Edge is unique in that it has a live on-screen eye image of what the camera sees. We're going to let this eye image be your visual guide. In the middle of that image is a small white square that is our tracking indicator. So on the right of this image, we see a picture of the person's face. On the left, we see that same eye zoomed in, and in between those images, we have a white visible tracking indicator. That tracking indicator present means that the eye tracker has found and is tracking that person's pupil. So right away, we're going to set it up, point to the camera at their eyes, get this image focused, and see, is that tracking indicator present? The focus here on this image, the Eyegaze Edge has a camera that you manually focus and gives you full control over the clarity that that image, the eye tracker, is seeing. Here we see that pupil is centered in the image. We've got a clear delineation between the pupil and the iris, and this image is focused so much so that we can see their eyelashes even. This is a great clear image. Here's a video example. I set this up in front of one of our office staff, and right away we can see that the camera is pointed at her eyes, it is focused, and we can see this visible tracking indicator on the right side of the screen, right to the left of her face. And then we can go into calibration. As a reminder, we need to get their body comfortably supported and comfortable. We bring the device to them, we point the camera right at their eyes, focus that image, and then we can see that visible tracking indicator to launch right into the calibration screen. Setting the stage to calibration in this manner gives people a quick and effortless access to calibration and then an accurate experience. So these are the steps we go through to set them up for success. Let's continue. Continuing on, this question, are their eyes trackable? The top one, again, the image is focused and clear, and we see that visible white tracking indicator. We're good to go. The image on the bottom, this is not tracking. We can tell that because that white tracking indicator is absent. You'll notice as we look at their eyes just look dark. Remember, the eye tracker pulses infrared light through the air, up into the eye, travels through the eye, hits the retina in the back, which is reflective, and it reflects that bright reflection, that bright pupil back down to the camera where the eye tracker takes a photo of it. That happens about 50 times per second. This bottom image is somebody who has a detached retina. Now, we were not sure if they were going to be able to do eye tracking at all. From this image, we see that that retina is not reflecting anything back. We also see that that tracking indicator is not there. So this eye, which is their left eye, is not trackable. This is really valuable data to know as we're going through their AAC trials. Moving on to question 2. Once their eyes are being tracked, how accurate can they be? How accurately can we get them to calibrate? This is an image, a sample screen of our simple calibration, so there are 5 points to look at. It gives you a visual on the screen as well as a splash of numeric and text data at the top once they're done with calibration. Let's dive into what this might look like on any given person. first, here's someone who's not quite there. So we see that there are 9 calibration points to look at. Those are the yellow balls. And what we can see on this splash screen is very interesting. You'll notice behind the yellow icons is a black screen. So high contrast and low distraction. I want you to focus on the lower right point. So we wanted them to look far right and low in the screen, that lower ball right in the corner. And we can see up and to the left of that point some visual data, a little white cross and 2 dots. So we were wanting them to look at that icon in the bottom of the screen. However, where it tracked them actually looking was up and to the left significantly. So we can see that this person is having difficulty in the lower right-hand corner of the screen as an example, as well as a few other points as well. Numerically at the top, we see the calibration accuracy is 1.5 inches, so that's a large number. It gives us the worst point. What it does is the Eyegaze Edge calibration program will automatically recalibrate the weak points until it gets past the mathematical threshold where we think they're going to go in and have a pretty good experience. So it does a lot of the work for us if we've set the eye tracker in front of the eyes appropriately. Let's show you a video. This is Yama's first time calibrating with me, so it's a new set of eyes for me. We see right away I've set up the device, the image is focused, that visual tracking indicator is there, so I've already answered question number 1. Let's see how he calibrates, and then we'll interpret the calibration data that the device gives us. All right, so we see that he passed his accuracy test with 0.08 inches. That's a very small number. Small is good in this case. So our interpretation as a clinician is on a 9-point calibration, he attained 0.08 inches. It was with both eyes. He did this on his first attempt. What that number means is we take 0.08 times 2, which is 0.16 of an inch, and we make a square with sides that are 0.16 inches, and that size of square is the size of button that we're going to be expecting him to accurately hit. So the smaller this number, the more small targets on a screen they'll be successful with. So this is a very good calibration on the first attempt with both eyes. Remember, that eye image will give us visual data about their eyes. Is the right eye losing traction? Is the left eye being more dominant? And then this numeric data. Very helpful information. All right, so once we get them through calibration, question number 3 is, can we optimize access to the things that really matter to them? So this might be phrases for communication or keyboards, text messages, access to email and websites, all things that will keep them connected to the world around them. We know through the data and also the software that we can customize this to their liking and what their eyes are able to do for us. Okay, I'd like to show you a couple more videos here. First is, this is Yama with superior calibration accessing small buttons for the first time. He is keyboard literate, so after his great calibration, I put him right on a keyboard and wanted to see how he did. So we saw that he was able to be accurate on his name, look at the speak button, look at the pause button, his timing and spelling were fine. We expected this because of the eye image and that robust calibration that the data showed us. Let's say that they were struggling on a keyboard. We might move to some bigger buttons, medium-sized buttons, and just give them practice. We're going to be really aware of how they're responding to our direction and give them more or less cues as needed.
Just stand there. Please hear me. Please. fix my pillars.
We can see that he is still learning the timing. He missed the first button, but he went back to it. We have an auditory click every time he selects a button, and we have a small circle that fills in when he has gazed long enough at the right buttons. Okay, here's an example of medium buttons surfing the web. Okay, moving on to the next one. Here are some cause and effect games, so just exploring. These are small buttons, large buttons, and medium-sized buttons. And we could see that for the most part, this was Kim, was able to hit small, medium, and large buttons. What do we do if we can't get somebody calibrated? The unique thing about the Eyegaze Edge is this eye image will take out some of the guessing game about it very quickly because we know where the camera is pointed and we also know when the camera is focused. So even without calibration, we can give the eye tracker a pretty good image of the eye to base just the predictions off of. So this is me using the Eyegaze Edge without calibrating, and I have two medium to large size buttons, a yes on the right and a no on the left. So I pointed the camera at my eye, I focused the image, and here we go.
Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes.
I was able to hit a choice of 2 and also a choice of 4 without calibration. So our interpretation as we wrap up, the Eyegaze Edge is a powerful tool because in a matter of minutes we can tell you, are the eyes trackable? We can tell if there are any compounding factors related to the eyes from that eye image. We can tell how accurately they can calibrate, what size buttons might be an appropriate starting point. Sometimes that's a question we have. We can tell if they can access screens that they need to really connect with the world. And also we can turn on heat mapping so we can tell where they are attending and for how long, and where their eyes are able to reach within the visual field. So along with a thorough pre-screening, the data captured from the Eyegaze Edge will lay the foundation for an efficient Eyegaze AAC trial experience. It will let you know of any obstacles and help you troubleshoot them quickly. So I like to try the Eyegaze Edge first in the lineup of devices because having this data for all of the devices you try can make things more enjoyable for the communicator and also efficient for you as the evaluator. Here's one last video of 2 people who came to us saying, eye tracking does not work for me. What we did is we led them through the process of answering these 3 questions, tweaking our software to accommodate for their eye conditions. So we have somebody with very thick glasses. We also have somebody with nystagmus. We led them through calibration, modified the screens, and answered these 3 questions to get them to the point where they could be typing and speaking using the Eyegaze Edge, as you'll see here. That's the end of the lecture. If you want to reach out to us, please visit our website, which is eyegaze.com. You can email info@eyegaze.com or call us by reaching out at 1-800-Eyegaze.